Welcome to 21 Days of Sage Intacct for a New You, presented by LBMC Technology Solutions. Because it takes 21 days to make or break a habit, over the next 3 weeks, we'll empower you to reimagine the way that you work by providing 21 days of great tips to make a better you in Sage Intacct. Let's get started. The new you in Sage Intacct starts today. Day 10. Pushing estimates to purchasing commitments. How to convert estimates into purchasing commitments with Sage Intacct. So if your estimate underneath a project is set up appropriately, then you will be able to export it and then massage the data and then import it into purchasing transactions. So if we looked at the entries for this particular project, we would be able to see that a cost code is assigned, a cost type is assigned, and then also within each one of these, a vendor is also assigned. So if we go back into edit the actual estimate and we look here, we notice that a vendor is also assigned to each line. And there are different vendors for different lines. And this is how we would be able to single out, all the alpha installations, for example, be able to produce one subcontract to alpha based on this estimate. So your estimate has to be set up appropriately with cost code, cost type, and vendor in order to make this process work. So if you got to the point where you thought your estimate was appropriate and you could export it to start massaging the data to create your subcontracts, for example, we would say, come to the entry screen on the project estimate, and we would push this to Excel, which is what I have done here. And so this is how it comes out with the workflow type, cost code, cost type, and then vendor is also here somewhere as well. I think it's hidden. So you would export that vendor and then you would massage this data and ultimately you would put it into a template that you could import into Intacct. So we have this purchasing template and you'll notice that I have lots of columns hidden, and that's because you have the ability to really add those different dimensions or different things that you need to import for. So I've just condensed this to the ones that we actually need to import. And so we would take the data from the estimate export and put it all here. And you could add it all together. You could say, put all the alphas together, put all the, whatever ABC electrical together, and you would define the transaction type. So row 1 is always the header. And this is what the object is identified in Intacct for an import template. And then row 2 doesn't get imported, but it tells you about the field, the object that you're going to import into, and whether it's required or not. And so obviously a purchasing transaction template would be for things like purchase orders, subcontracts, any kind of commitments that you're sending into Intacct. But you could massage the data from the estimate entry, populate it here, and then simply import it into Intacct, creating the actual commitment that you want to create. So where those would come in at is if we went to subcontracts, for example, we would choose import, we would browse to wherever we're saving that CSV file at. And this is also where you get that download template that's very expansive and has all the fields. And then once you hit import, it would actually create a separate record, if that's how you identified it on the template, to a separate subcontract, for example. So then you would, if you had 20 subcontracts on your import template, then you would have 20 new subcontracts just by hitting import. So that is a way where you could take the estimate, export it with vendor data, and then create your subcontracts based off of that export in the estimate to the import for subcontracts. So that's a really quick and easy way to get a whole bunch of subcontracts or purchase orders just based on your schedule of values in the project estimate. Thank you for joining us today on our presentation of 21 Days to a New You in Sage Intacct. If you want to talk to an expert, here's our contact information. We look forward to hearing from you.